It all started as many legendary stories do in Las Vegas. The year is 2025 and the desert air is buzzing with that special kind of Vegas electricity. Two of America's most famous families, the Bradys and the Partridges, had arrived for what was supposed to be a relaxing reunion. The Bradys were there to support Greg, who was giving a keynote speech at a big architecture conference. It was a chance for them all to reconnect, from Marcia and her perfect hair to Peter and his surprisingly good dad jokes. They checked into the magnificent Caesar's Palace, their station wagon looking hilariously out of place next to shiny sports cars. The lobby was pure chaos, a whirlwind of ringing slot machines, sparkling lights, and people from every corner of the world.
Meanwhile, just across the lobby, we were making our own grand entrance. The Partridge Family, led by yours truly, was in town for a special one-night-only comeback concert. Keith was already tuning his guitar, thinking about our set list. Laurie was wrangling Danny, who was trying to sell Partridge Family merchandise to tourists before we even got our room keys. Chris and Tracy were just wide-eyed, soaking up the spectacle. Our iconic painted bus, parked out front, had already drawn a crowd. We were a band, a family, and just a whirlwind of musical energy, ready to take Vegas by storm one more time. The plan was simple: check in, rehearse, and put on a show that would have everyone singing along.
The moment the two families saw each other was cinematic. It was a collision of sitcom royalty. Mike Brady, ever the friendly patriarch, spotted Shirley Partridge and walked over with a warm smile.
Shirley Partridge, it's a pleasure. I'm Mike Brady.
Soon, introductions were flying. Brady and Shirley bonded instantly over the shared chaos of raising so many kids. The older siblings eyed each other with a mix of curiosity and friendly rivalry. Greg and Keith talked music and fame, while Marcia and Laurie discussed the challenges of being the sensible older sisters. It was a pop culture crossover event happening right there in the middle of a bustling hotel lobby. A beautiful, noisy, and slightly overwhelming moment of television history coming to life.
Amid the handshakes and happy introductions, the youngest members of each clan were already forming their own alliance. Bobby Brady, always full of grand ideas and schemes, met Tracy Partridge, the quietest but most observant of her family. As the grown-ups and teenagers were busy catching up, Bobby and Tracy were captivated by the sounds and lights of a massive arcade they could see just past the reception desk. They exchanged a look, a silent agreement passing between them. While their families were busy reminiscing and planning, these two had a plan of their own. It was a plan that involved video games, adventure, and a little bit of secret mischief. The perfect start to any Las Vegas vacation, really.
The check-in process at a place like Caesar's Palace is an adventure in itself. There were forms to sign, bags to count, and room keys to distribute among the dozen-plus members of the newly combined Brady-Partridge mega-family. Carol was trying to make sure Cindy had her favorite doll, while Shirley was reminding Danny not to try and haggle for a better room rate. In the middle of this delightful, noisy confusion, Alice was trying to count heads, a habit she never quite kicked.
1, 2, 3, wait, where are Bobby and Tracy?
Her voice cut through the chatter. Suddenly, the friendly noise quieted down, replaced by a wave of parental panic. A quick, frantic scan of the immediate area confirmed it. They were gone. Bobby Brady and Tracy Partridge had vanished.
Carol's hand went to her heart, her warm smile replaced by a look of pure worry.
"Bobby! Bobby!" she called out, her voice echoing slightly in the vast lobby.
Tracy, honey, where are you?
The older kids stopped their conversations mid-sentence. Keith stopped humming a new tune, and Greg put his architecture pamphlets down. The fun reunion atmosphere had evaporated, replaced by the universal dread every parent feels when they look away for just 1 second. Panic, as it often does, started to set in.
Danny Partridge, ever the little manager, immediately started barking orders.
Okay, people, standard procedure. Fan out, check the restrooms, check the gift shop, don't just stand there,
He exclaimed, pointing in 3 different directions at once. Peter Brady, trying to be helpful, suggested they check the buffet, because if he were a kid, that's where he'd be. This earned him a sharp look from Jan.
Peter, this isn't about you and your appetite, she hissed.
The family unity was already starting to fray at the edges, the stress bringing out everyone's classic quirks and anxieties in the most unhelpful ways. Mike Brady and Reuben Kincaid, the Partridge's long-suffering manager, quickly took charge, trying to inject some calm into the escalating chaos.
All right, everyone, let's not panic, Mike said in his calm, fatherly tone. We'll split up into logical groups. We will search the hotel grid by grid.
Reuben, meanwhile, was already on his phone with hotel security, his face a mask of professional concern. Yes, 2 children. One looks like a Brady, the other a Partridge. No, I'm not kidding, he sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose.
The Great Las Vegas search had officially begun, and the 2 families, now united by a common crisis, prepared to turn the city upside down to find their missing members. With a plan loosely in place, the newly formed search parties scattered across the Las Vegas Strip. Each group took a different landmark, turning the famous boulevard into a giant, glittering search grid. Mike, Carol, and Alice, the classic Brady parental unit, decided to tackle the Bellagio. They walked through the stunning botanical gardens, their eyes scanning for a small boy in striped pants and a little girl with a drumstick. They paused to watch the famous fountains, hoping to catch a glimpse of the kids in the crowd.
Carol couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. "It's so beautiful," she whispered to Mike. They would have loved to see this. It was a search filled with a strange mix of anxiety and awe.
Meanwhile, the older siblings formed an unlikely and slightly dysfunctional team. Greg, Marcia, Keith, and Laurie took on the Venetian. They wandered through the Grand Canal shops, their heads on a swivel.
Keith kept getting distracted by the street performers, wondering if he could borrow their acoustics for a quick song.
Marcia, ever practical, was showing Bobby's photo to gondoliers. "Have you seen this boy? He has very cute, slightly mischievous eyes," she'd say.
This led to a classic bit of sibling bickering.
Marcia, must you describe everything in terms of cuteness? Jan complained, tagging along and feeling, as usual, a little overlooked in the drama of it all. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia!
Shirley Partridge, joined by Peter and Jan Brady, decided to check the area around the Mirage. Their search took a surreal turn when they found themselves in the middle of Siegfried and Roy's secret garden and dolphin habitat. As they walked past the majestic white tigers, Peter turned to Jan with a grin.
"You know, if I were hiding, this is a pretty cool place to do it," he said, trying to lighten the mood.
Shirley, however, was all business, her maternal instincts on high alert. She asked every employee and tourist they passed, her voice steady but laced with urgency.
The search was proving to be a strange, stressful tour of Las Vegas's greatest hits. The final group, consisting of Danny, Chris, Cindy, and Reuben Kincaid, drew the short straw and had to search the area around Circus Circus. The chaotic energy of the place was almost too much to handle.
Danny tried to organize the search like a business operation, creating charts and assigning quadrants of the Adventure Dome. I was clutching my doll tightly, overwhelmed by the clowns and acrobats, convinced that Bobby and Tracy had run away to join the circus.
Reuben just looked exhausted, fielding calls from the venue for the Partridges' concert. "No, we haven't canceled," he'd groaned into his phone. "We've just misplaced the drummer."
The search was a mess, and they were no closer to finding the kids. In the middle of the frantic search, something amazing and utterly chaotic started to happen. The families, full of musical talent and nervous energy, began to express their anxiety through song.
It started at the Bellagio, where I was feeling pretty helpless. I sat down at an empty grand piano in a quiet lounge and started playing a slow, soulful version of "It's a Sunshine Day."
I heard the music and just couldn't resist. I joined in, adding a layer of bluesy guitar. Our impromptu duet, a mashup of Brady optimism and Partridge melancholy, drew a small crowd. We were singing about sunshine, but honestly, our worried faces told a completely different story.
The musical moments weren't always so harmonious. Over at the Venetian, Marcia and Laurie got into a heated debate about the best way to get attention.
Marcia suggested a big, flashy dance number, while Laurie argued for a heartfelt ballad. This disagreement escalated into a full-blown musical battle right in St. Mark's Square.
Marcia launched into a peppy, choreographed version of Keep On, complete with high kicks and dazzling smiles. Not to be outdone, Laurie grabbed a street performer's guitar and belted out a powerful, emotional rendition of I Think I Love You. Tourists stopped to watch, pulling out their phones to record the strange yet captivating sing-off between the 2 television icons.
Even the parents weren't immune to the musical madness. At the Mirage, Shirley Partridge and Carol Brady, having met up after their separate searches proved fruitless, found themselves sharing a quiet moment. They started humming, then softly singing together. They created a beautiful, impromptu lullaby, a blend of I Woke Up in Love This Morning and the Brady Bunch theme. It was a song of maternal worry and unwavering hope, a quiet prayer set to music. Their gentle harmony was a stark contrast to the noisy chaos of the casino floor, a small island of peace in a sea of anxiety. It was a touching moment of two mothers connecting over their shared fear and love for their children.
The most chaotic performance, though, belonged to Danny Partridge. At Circus, frustrated by the lack of progress, he leaped onto the stage in the middle of a clown show. Grabbing the microphone, he launched into a fast-talking, rap-style version of Come On Get Happy, but with lyrics about the missing kids.
Got 2 kids. Can't be found. We're searching all over this town. Bobby, Tracy, where you at? Your manager's about to have a heart attack, he rhymed, gesturing wildly.
The audience, thinking it was part of the show, started clapping along. Chris and Cindy stood on the sidelines, half embarrassed and half impressed by Danny's sheer audacity. In the age of social media, honestly, nothing stays secret for long, especially not in Las Vegas. The first post came from a tourist at the Venetian. It was this shaky video of Marcia and Laurie's sing-off, captioned, "OMG! Marcia Brady and Laurie Partridge in a dance battle. What is happening in Vegas? #Brady vs Partridge." The video just exploded. Within minutes, it had thousands of views and shares, and the hashtag #Brady vs Partridge started trending.
People who weren't even in Vegas were suddenly, totally obsessed with the story. They were trying to figure out why our families were apparently feuding all over the city.
Yeah, the narrative was getting away from us fast. And then, the next viral moment hit, thanks to Danny's impromptu performance at Circus.
Somebody in the audience live-streamed the whole thing. The title of the stream, Partridge Family Kid rapping about lost kids? Weirdest show in Vegas. The comments were wild. Some folks were confused, others concerned, and a bunch just laughing.
Someone even wrote, "Is this real?" And another person was like, "Someone please find those kids."
News outlets started picking up on the social media buzz. Entertainment bloggers jumped in too, writing articles with headlines like, "Brady and Partridge families descend on Vegas for bizarre musical meltdown." The search for Bobby and Tracy had become a public spectacle, a reality show playing out in real time on everyone's phones.
At first, we were all pretty much oblivious to our newfound viral fame. We were just too busy searching.
But then, our phones started buzzing nonstop. I was the first to realize the scale of the problem. I said, "Shirley, you need to see this. The whole world thinks we're having a collective breakdown."
Even our soulful duet, mine and Keith's, got posted online with the hashtag #SadVegasDuet. People started making memes and mashups and coming up with these wild theories about what was going on.
One of the most popular theories? That it was all just a publicity stunt for a new reality show. Really though, the truth was way simpler, and honestly, way more stressful.
The social media storm had this unexpected side effect. It turned thousands of people in Las Vegas into amateur detectives. Folks started posting photos and videos of any kids they saw who even vaguely looked like Bobby and Tracy.
"Saw a kid with a striped shirt near the Flamingo. Could be Bobby Brady," someone tweeted. And another person actually posted a picture of a little girl holding a drum-shaped lollipop asking, "Is this Tracy Partridge?"
The tips were, well, mostly unhelpful. But it meant there were now thousands of extra pairs of eyes on the lookout. The viral chaos had accidentally created the world's largest, most disorganized search party. The families just hoped the right person would see something, soon. While their families were, turning Las Vegas into a city-wide musical drama, Bobby and Tracy were just having the time of their lives. They hadn't run away. Nope. They'd simply followed the mesmerizing lights and sounds to their logical conclusion, the Caesars Palace Arcade. It was honestly a kid's paradise, a sprawling wonderland of flashing screens, virtual reality pods, and classic pinball machines. Completely unaware of the panic they'd caused, the two kids saw this not as a crisis, but as a real opportunity.
We had a mission, and it was definitely a mission that involved music, rhythm, and a whole lot of quarters we found in some forgotten coin cup.
Bobby, a boy of many hidden talents and grand ambitions, had discovered a high-tech music-making game. It was like a DJ booth, a drum machine, and a recording studio all rolled into one. He started experimenting with beats, mixing samples of casino sounds with classic pop melodies.
Tracy found these electronic drums. She wasn't just banging on them, she was actually playing. with this focus and precision that would have surprised her whole family.
The two of them, without even saying a word, had started to create a song. Their secret project was meant to be a surprise for their families. They'd overheard their parents talking about the big Partridge Family show and Greg's speech, and in their simple, kid-logic way, decided the two families should totally perform together. So their plan was to create a new song, a mashup of Brady and Partridge styles, and present it as a surprise gift.
We were practicing our big number. It's this fun, upbeat tune that mixes up the wholesome pop of the Bradys with the rock and roll energy of the Partridges.
It's a song about two families coming together. And, we made it because, well, we brought everyone together in the first place.
Their secret jam session was finally discovered thanks to the social media frenzy. A teenager playing a racing game nearby recognized them from a viral post on his phone. He looked from his screen to the two kids rocking out, and his eyes just went wide. He quickly and discreetly took a short video and posted it with the caption, "Found them. Brady vs. Partridge kids are safe at Caesar's Arcade and they're rehearsing?" The post was instantly shared with a local news reporter covering the story. Within minutes, the reporter contacted hotel security, and security reached out to Reuben Kincaid. The citywide search was about to come to a very noisy, very musical end. The news spread through the scattered family groups like wildfire.
They're in the arcade, back at the hotel.
The relief was immediate and honestly overwhelming. All the separate search parties dropped what they were doing and rushed back to Caesar's palace. The Bradys and the Partridges, a frazzled, worried, and, let's face it, slightly famous mess, converged on the arcade from all directions. They burst through the doors, a wave of anxious parents and siblings, expecting to find their lost children scared and alone. But what they found instead was Bobby and Tracy in the middle of their grand finale, a triumphant crash of electronic cymbals and a final synthesized chord.
Oh, Bobby, we were so worried. Tracy, don't you ever do that again.
The kids, confused by the tears in the crowd, tried to explain.
We were practicing.
It's a surprise for the show.
The families looked from the kids to the music game and back again, the pieces finally clicking into place. The great disappearance wasn't a disappearance at all. It was a rehearsal. As the initial wave of relief washed over everyone, the mood shifted to a mix of exasperation and amusement.
So you're telling me you caused a citywide panic that got us trending on 3 social media platforms to practice a song? That's some next-level promotion, kids. I'm not even mad.
Mike Brady, in classic dad mode, knelt down to look Bobby in the eye.
Son, we're very proud of your creativity, but next time, please leave a note.
The tension that had been building all day finally broke, and the families erupted in laughter. The song the kids had written was actually, surprisingly, fantastic. Bobby played it for them from the machine. It was a catchy, clever mashup of Sunshine Day and Come On Get Happy with a modern electronic beat.
Hey, that chord progression, that's not bad.